guys, just going through a quick video on what I would personally recommend as upgrades for WE or TM to a certain degree, G17s, and just a couple of quick mods that I would do to them myself. Now, I run these quite a lot. I get asked a lot of questions because a lot of people know that I run them. So I've got a couple of my blocks here. So I've got a WE G17, and this is the one I use the most. I've got this other one here which is stripped down. It's kind of an process build. Sorry. And then I've got the G18 here, which is a custom one that was painted by Jai over at Airsoft World. We'll go through that one in a bit more detail as well. Now, there's a few things I would start with. Firstly, I would say don't upgrade anything on these until they break. Play with them a lot until you get to the point that you know what you want out of them. Don't just go upgrading parts kind of left, right and centre, because you will just spend a lot of money you don't really need to. Now, the first thing I would say is a lot of people give the WE pistol slack because their G17s are fantastic. I would have one of these over a TM any day, and that's coming from me as a TM fan. Now, the first part I would say about upgrading straight off the bat is the bucking, mainly because I think it's the stock one's pretty good. You can get I normally use the Lilacs 9-ball purple. My 18's got AIP grey bucking in it. Not a massive difference, it's just they're a lot more consistent, nicer, more accurate. But yeah, that's the one thing I would change personally now off the bat, but again I would say use it until it wears down a bit. Next up, this is a funny one, and the next thing I would say is at least have a spare kicking around. Maybe not change and wait till they break, but the loading of those, and the reason being is that they break like that. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, so absolutely crap. The problem with the WE one is that although you can get these enhanced ones, which I got off eBay or Airsoft, I don't know who it is that makes them, and they're not listed as having a make. They seem to last a bit better than the stock ones, but they're still not the best. You can see here, this is a stock blowback housing. They are straight drop-ins and they're fine, no issue there with them at all. Now, one of the things I will say is that mines have always broken when I've been running them on CO2, so I don't know if it's just they can't take the CO2 or what. This here is a AIP TM upgrade. Now, this is the problem when you put it in. It just so tight, it does nothing. Like, you can see there, it's not even moving freely. They're just not, they're not suitable for WE ones off the bat. There is a mod you can do, and basically you've got a rubber piston ring thing here, and a piston head. Now, you can take it out, it's just a screw on the top. If you take it out and get, for example, the AIP upgraded ones, then it will work fine. There's no issue with that at all. The issue is the WE ones are slightly thicker, therefore the standard TM upgrades don't fit. If you get a TM upgrade for it, it will fit fine. So that's what I've done in this. I'm using a Garter enhanced nozzle with it's a stock TM piston and O-ring. As for kind of inner barrels, I would recommend PDI or 9 barrels, 601, 603. I use a 600 in this just for a little bit more power, just because, no reason, it was just to test and see how it goes. So they're good laugh. But yeah, other than that, the hop, you can see this one here, if you're fairly well used, it's all scuffed to hell and such. Nozzle return strings, don't bother upgrading them, waste of time. It doesn't really do anything in terms of, well, I guess if you've got a really high, like high cycle block 18, so it's firing really quick, then yeah, but otherwise it's a waste of time. Next up, this is a funny one. If you're running a Gen 1 or Gen 2 WE block, get a new outer barrel. The reason being is that it's hard to see on camera, but this bit here, that was kind of smoothed into the top piece. On the Gen 1 and 2, this piece here is basically squared. It's two pieces that have been like welded together, and they've remolded them, so so you've got this extra material, and it stops them breaking. If they do break, the garter ones are probably they're a good bet. I've seen a lot of people say that, like, and it's a good thing to live by. I use stock slides most of the time. I don't change them too much. This here is one of the SR Union slides. Oops. Extractor. It's a brilliant slide, don't get me wrong. It's a lot lighter than the standard slide because it's 70-75 aluminium. I've had consistency issues with barrels in these, even like 2WE barrels won't fit, or one will fit and one won't fit in this, whereas the other ones have been fine. It's a bit annoying, but I guess you just got to go with it. As for upgrading slides, I'd probably wait until the WE1 broke, unless you're really after something a bit fancy like I was when I bought this. These are good slides, as are you, and they are very expensive though, that's the only thing I would say. You can probably get better for the money, but you know what, I bought it and it's lasted. Comes with fibre optics as well, which is quite nice. This pistol, one thing I did miss. In terms of most of the internals in the lore, I wouldn't bother changing them. I would leave them as they are. What I do sometimes is if it's a pistol I use like a light or a torch on it, is I'll take the safety out. It's quite easy to do. You literally just undo this front screw, this piece lifts out, you take the safety out. The only issue is that sometimes this bit here that you push down to take the slide off, there's like a sprung bit of metal underneath it. Sometimes, don't know why, that won't sit high enough without that safety in to lock your slide in place. But sometimes it will, which is obscure. Good job WE, good quality there. Other than that, yeah, mainly personal preference. Like, I use a garter and slide stops normally. I used an AIP extended one. It was a piece of junk. I would not recommend them to anybody. When it comes to internals, AIP internals I would recommend every time. Externals, not so much. They're not anything great in my book. In terms of triggers, I use stock trigger grip and everything. I don't bother changing it out. I like the stock trigger thing, it's quite a nice feel to it. One thing I would also recommend in terms of early upgrades is getting yourself a good set of sights. The reason being the stock plastic sights, which I don't have on any of my guns, they break and unfortunately they hold the actual blowback housing in place. So when they break, that starts to kind of vibrate around inside the sight. Not the best thing to have. Again, as for grips, I like the Gen 3 over the Gen 4, mainly for the mag release. I think it's just got a much nicer, more distinct press to it. I think the Gen 4's is like a very light press, it's very easy to hit by mistake, so for that gripping, I would always say get a Gen 3 lower if you're buying any. I don't think Harder or anybody even make an aftermarket Gen 4, so but yeah. Last up, the three things I will talk about is the magazines for the Glocks now. You've obviously got three distinct types you get. The WE CO2 mags, that's what I use normally in my Glocks. They're great. I like CO2, it just gives you a bit more consistency, a bit harder kick. They're just nice, you know. Nice kick to them. The green gas mags are fine. I don't have any of my green gas mags here. One of my friends is borrowing them at the moment, and this is just an old beaten up one I've got. But what I'd always recommend is the purple gas routers. And if you're free not letting to break, the AIP ones are good. The followers do have a tendency to break. Again, you can get AIP and hardened ones. I think Garter does some as well. Any of them really do. They're a bit of a pain because they break. Key is don't drop your mags. The ones I run probably the most are the 50 round extended mags, mainly because I use the Glock as a primary a lot in CQB, so for that aspect, 50 rounders are good. The they're only a couple pound more than the stock mags, so you know, why not? And they fit by like perfectly into MP5 mag pouches, so no problems there. I think that's everything in terms of my 18 again. Again, I'd say the same thing. You can see I've got similar loading models in there. Pop units, stock. The one thing I would say is the spring guides. I use this quite a lot in full auto, and eventually the stock spring guide snapped. I was using it full auto with CO2, so it probably didn't help much. But yeah, eventually the stock spring guide snapped, so I've just replaced it with a garter one and kind of polished up a bit. It's not massively important. Again, that's one of these replacement or brakes jobs. Again, everything in the lower bog standard. One thing I will say as well, just sorry quickly, is if you are getting one of these slides, get yourself like 120% recoil spring. The reason being, they're so light compared to the stock slide, but so hard that these bits here, these corners, will mangle the front of the rails on the lower frame. You can see here, this is a P226 150% recoil spring that I've cut about 25% of the length off.